Melissa has made its turn towards the north, towards Jamaica, still as a Category 5 storm with winds incredibly sustained at 175 miles per hour. I'm meteorologist Robert Speta. Always trying to do my best to not hype storms, give you the latest information and facts out here, what's going on. And a lot of times I try to refrain from using adjectives like destructive, catastrophic, and only use it when it is warranted. And my goodness, this storm, it is warranted for Jamaica. This is going to be, at the very least, the strongest storm to hit that island in 150 years. But if it continues at this intensity with this pressure at 901 millibars, it could be one of the strongest, definitely in the top 5 at least, landfalling hurricanes in the Atlantic. Not just the peak intensity, but right at landfall. It originally, when it was going to go even just slightly further towards the east, it would have been impacted by the Blue Mountains there, which may have disrupted that core, but now it's looking further towards the west, more of a low-lying area in the western side of Jamaica, and that core of this heat engine that is a hurricane is going to maintain a little bit longer. And yeah, destructive conditions here in that inner eye. It's hard to put in perspective if you've never been through it, even just a hurricane, yet alone a Cat 5, what 175 mile per hour winds are like. That is just absolutely incredible, and it's sustained winds. It's not even the gust. And then within that, you're talking about storm surge, and then on top of that, heavy rainfall. And this is just from the National Hurricane Center. This is their first line for their top headline. Jamaica, remain sheltered. Catastrophic flash flooding, landslides, destructive winds will continue through today, continuing to create widespread infrastructure damage. I mean, they're not holding back on this as far as the impacts from this one, and for good reason. There's hurricane warnings in place across Jamaica, eastern Cuba, and also even eastern areas of the Bahamas and the Turks and Caicos, as well as this kicks off towards the north. Now, how do we know it is this strong? Well, 2 reasons. One, Dvorak analysis, satellite interpretation showed this storm actually with a raw TI number upwards about 8.3. Now, 99% of people have no idea what that means. But then the last one I seen that high was Super Typhoon Yolanda, also known as Haiyan, which had an 8.1, and that was considered one of the strongest typhoons in the Western Pacific in recent memory. This got up to an 8.3, but on top of that, we have hurricane hunters flying through it, getting actual recon with the pressure down to 903 millibars, winds at 178. I mean, 903. Actually, yesterday, one of the flights with the hurricane hunters, and I personally have never seen this. Now, that's just my judgment. There probably has been scenarios where this has happened, but I just don't have that information offhand. They turned around because it was too much turbulence inside of this storm. Usually, they can kind of flow like flowing down a fast-moving river. If there's a lot of turbulence, that indicates rapid intensification often. Yesterday, Cat 5, and then we've seen this video. If you haven't, look it up. We have it at First Coast News, from inside the eye with the hurricane hunters, and it's just absolutely incredible. It's mesmerizing at the same time, deadly and dangerous. And goodness, I mean, this satellite image right here, this is one of those, I don't like using adjectives, once in generational event for the island of Jamaica. There is nobody alive on that island today that has seen a storm like this come ashore. And I truly hope, in a non-fanatical way or anything like that, everybody is being smart and being safe and staying inside. Yeah, at this point, it's at that point where the core of that destructive wind is nearing landfall, and already seeing the impacts from it out here. Why did it make the turn towards the north? Well, because of this low that's off the southeastern U.S. That is basically hooking it and causing it to kick off towards the north and east there. So that same low that brought rain and even some thunderstorms across the southeast yesterday, we had some severe weather. That's the catalyst for this to kick off, and the reason why it made that sharp right-hand turn. Now it's going to head over Jamaica and then head into Cuba here Tuesday night into Wednesday morning, crossing the Bahamas before moving further off towards the north here. And behind it, the same front that is kind of kicking this along, is actually going to usher in some much drier and cooler air with it too. So something to keep in mind. I'll get to that in just a second. But due to, this picking up its pace, the rainfall threat for Cuba is not quite as high as Jamaica. Jamaica's big issue, one, they've had a lot of rain recently, so the ground's already saturated prior to the hurricane. But two, it's been persistent for the last 24 hours, 48 hours. So we've already seen a lot of rain, and still more. Some areas could see as much as 10 to 15 inches on top of this. And that's where you come with that major threat. As I mentioned here, I was just reading off the National Hurricane Center headlines, the flood threat and the landslide threat with it. And then we take a look at our timeline. It should get out of here by Wednesday morning, the backside of it. It'll start to move away from Cuba. And then by Thursday morning, you start to see kind of conditions, or actually Thursday night conditions will start to improve for the Bahamas. And this is just a broader look at what I'm talking about with that kicking off. But I really want to show this because of that drier, cooler air on the backside of it. So if you're in the southeast United States, no worries still from this impacting you. Not concerned at all. But it is going to drag in some cool Canadian air. And by Halloween night, actually, by Friday night, temperatures will be into the 50s for a good portion of like northern Florida, southeast Georgia. And then overnight, some areas could be even getting to 40s because of that catalyst from this kind of hooking that high pressure area and pulling it from the north. But for now, that aside, looking at the long range near term, it is still all about the core of this storm with winds of 175 miles per hour sustained. As I mentioned, the hurricane hunter still finding pressure nearing 900 millibars. That is just absolutely incredible, and it is a dangerous storm system. So I'm meteorologist Robert Speta. I always say try not to hype these storms, give you the latest facts, and I know from just looking at this, it may sound like hype, but this is serious stuff, and I hope everyone is staying safe out there. Check out First Coast News /Hurricane Central for more information, and I'm going to continue to keep you posted all day.